Hello everyone, this is Karen and thank you for joining me on this paper comparison video. I had noticed that the same watercolors behave differently on different papers, and so when I kind of downgraded some of my watercolors because of the effect they had on some paper, I realized that I should actually, give them a second chance when using them with a different kind of paper. So I've decided to swatch some watercolors on basically not all the papers I have, but yeah, sorry about my phone, but a lot of the papers I have, and yeah, to get the feeling of how they behave on different papers. And I have chosen the Cotman watercolors because they are the most used, the most common, and I thought that it was a good idea to pick them. And as for the papers, I have separated them in 3 groups. So the first one is cheap papers, the second one is expensive papers, and the third one is paper I don't know the price of because they were either gifted to me or they were samples given to me by the art shop when I bought something. Okay, so I have already swatched them, and I did that. I recorded myself, but it was a 40 minutes long video, and yeah, not going to happen. So this first one, let's start with the third group actually, which is the ones, the papers I do not know the price of. So we have, okay, I really should have thought this in a different way. I have okay, let's see if we can get all of them on the same feed. Frame, yeah, frame is the right word. Okay, so we have, this one is a Winsor & Newton cold pressed paper. It came with the 12 half-pan set of professional watercolors, so I have no idea how much it costs. And these 3 are samples from the art shop. This one is a Fontenay, and it's a cold pressed, even though it's actually quite smooth, so it's I think a halfway through satiny and cold press. This one is a torchon, which well, it really looks like a cold press, but okay, that's for another video. And this one is the Fabriano Watercolor Studio in and cold press. I think out of all the 4, the only one that has some form of cotton is the Winsor & Newton, but I did not find that specified, so I wouldn't know. Okay, so you can already see that comparing the colors, this one is a little less, the colors are a little less vibrant, even though the gradient effect is really smooth, contrary, for example, to this one, which has it blooms a lot, and the Fabriano as well. But I know that the Fabriano has this problem because it has also on its other brands, it has the same problem of blooming. And okay, so roughly between the ones that I do not know the price of, I would probably pick the Fontenay because I prefer smooth gradients over strength of color if I had to pick one. Of course, more vibrant colors are always a preference of mine, but if this is the result I get when I try to do a gradient, I can do without the vibrancy. Okay, so these are the 4 I do not know the price of. I will write the names of the paper in the description, so don't worry about me not pronouncing them right. I know I cannot speak English, or I cannot pronounce English. Okay, this is the papers that are cheap. They are not in order of cheapness or less expensiveness. Let's try to center this. Okay, so the first one is actually, sorry about the ambulances, you know I live near the hospital. Let's wait it out. Yeah, I almost don't notice them until they're right up to me. Okay, so this one is the first one I bought back when I thought that smooth paper would help me get a more even look in my washes, which is, well, not true. Okay, so this one is the Derwent watercolor paper and Superior Smooth. It is very smooth. It feels like painting on glass almost. This one is a Winsor & Newton Cotman, like a small album. It's not very big. This one is the Daler Rowney Aquafine Smooth, also satiny, but it has more texture than the Derwent, and they're both 100% cellulose, so no cotton here. This one is the Canson XL Mixed Media. I keep on calling it multimedia. And it has these lines, this texture, which I do not really like, but well, it was cheap. And this one is the Tiger watercolor paper, which is well, not extra cheap, but it's not expensive, and it's so smooth, so soft. You can probably use it as toilet paper. No, sorry, but I actually do like painting on this one, even though it has a lot of these small holes, and yeah, I don't really like patterned papers, but yeah. Okay, so between these, I have to say that the paper that keeps the most vibrancy of the color is the Cotman one. Even though it has this blooming effect that, wait, let me find the other one. Okay, this is the one that came from the set, and it has less of a blooming effect, and but a bit less vibrancy. So I think that if I had to pick one of these two, I would probably go with this, because it's the happy medium. The one I would probably pick, well, most favorite, it's probably the Daler Rowney, because the colors are vibrant enough, and the gradient can be smooth with enough practice. The Derwent is fine as well, but I probably used too little water for the main swatch, and then tried to drag it, and it didn't work. But yeah, the Daler Rowney is probably going to be my pick, because it's the more versatile of the five. Okay, so these are the cheap papers, and by cheap I mean that an album is going to be under 10 euros, no matter the size. So probably if you buy a bigger size, you're going to spend more, but you're also going to have more paper. Okay, these are the expensive ones. Okay, let's get them near each other. So they are all, well, 3 of them are cold pressed. Like these 3 are cold pressed, and this one is satiny. So this one is Arches, Fabriano Artistico. This is Centenaire, which is like the house brand of Gerstacker, I believe it's called, but I had never heard of it. But I purchased it because it was on sale on their site, and oh my god, I really like it. I was really surprised by it. And then we have my favorite, which is the Clairefontaine's Fontaine. Okay, so first thing first, I have to say that they are pretty consistent with their color vibrancy, even though I don't know if you can see it from the camera because the quality is well, a bit crappy, but I have to say that the Fabriano and the Clairefontaines are a little bit more vibrant, even though it's not really noticeable. You really need to get like really close and put them really close to each other. But if I had to, and they kind of behave really similarly in terms of blooming. You can see that while they do have some, well, the Fabriano has this problem of blooming, and I knew it, and it's not a problem when you know your paper behaves in certain ways, because you can try to, you know, either encourage it or like try to avoid it. But yeah, I have to say that in terms of both intensity of color and how the color behaves with water, they're pretty close with each other, probably aside from the arches, which well, I do not have the arches in cold pressed, because if I had, I would have swatched it on that and not used the Fontenay, because it's very smooth, of course, because of the tooth of the paper, but I think it influences a lot how water behaves on it. I don't know, maybe the texture, if you have holes and something, it works like a dam and holds water in. I do not know this, but if you look at the swatches, you can see that these are mostly similar to each other, while this one is largely okay, I'm sorry, it's more different from this than close to them. The Fabriano, well, it has this blooming problem, and so I would like use it for sketches and for practice, but I would probably not purchase it again, because you know, the price has to be worth it. I also would probably never buy the Fontenay version of arches as well. I do have the torchon, but it's like painting on concrete, and I feel the pain of my brushes, so I did not use it, I did not swatch it, and I'm really reluctant to use it for my paintings with some of the more expensive brushes, because I can feel it being rough, which is kind of the point, but yeah, I would like to treat my brushes better than that. Okay, so the last two, this one is my absolute favorite, and I think you can understand why, because the gradient it's smooth, it's really smooth, and the colors are very vibrant. But if you happen to come across this one, which costs, well, it is expensive, but it's for the same size of paper, this one is actually 10 euros cheaper. So, well, if I found on Amazon a good price for this one, I would probably always buy this one. But on sale, I think I would stock up on this one too, because it's worth having around. Okay, so I've finished the papers I have. I do have some more, but yeah, I was kind of tired of cutting paper, so I will probably do an updated video on them and see if something changed. So for now, thank you for watching this, and yes, I did manage to stay under 20 minutes instead of 40 like the first time. So kudos to me. Bye, until next time, guys.